Elizabeth Warren is trying to cancel Clarity Act, plus big inflation numbers coming out today that could flip the crypto market XRP, and President Trump goes to China. He gave a promise that when he comes back, something will happen. We'll cover that too. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button and let's get into it. So currently, XRP is sitting at $1.45, up from yesterday about 1.4%. Bitcoin is also again over 80,000. Ethereum is up over 2,300, but today we do have the PPI numbers that are coming out. Yesterday we had CPI numbers that were higher than expected. The markets took a little bit of a dip. There was a recovery, so the market was like, okay, good. Previously, if we would have been stretched up to the upside, I think we would have seen a pullback, a stronger pullback than we saw yesterday. We saw a pullback, but not something huge. If PPI numbers are also egregiously high, right, then that could affect the crypto market, could affect XRP, could affect the stock market as well, although Trump tweeted something very interesting, which I'll share with you in just a second. Make sure to watch all the way to the end of the video, of course. But it will be very interesting to see what happens here today, right? President Trump is going to China and he's taking a huge amount of people with him, people that want to make deals with China. Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, the NVIDIA CEO, Tim Cook, Larry Fink, Steven Schwartzman, Blackstone CEO, Boeing CEO, Cargill CEO, Citigroup, GE CEO, Goldman Sachs, Micron, Qualcomm, all of them are coming with Trump to China. And so this could be, historic trip, right? This could be a lot bigger than people are thinking. This could, if the US-China tensions are reduced significantly, this of course puts confidence in investors, right? A lot of the confidence in investors has gone down over the past few months because of the Iran war, oil prices going up, right? A thing like this, a big deal between the US and China, could reduce the fear of investors and have even more money flowing in. The stock market is doing so amazing recently. There's a lot of money. And the question is, where does the money go? Does it continue in the stock market or does it shift over to other assets, maybe devalued assets, according to certain people that think that crypto is currently devalued? And there are some people that are trying to stop the crypto market. They're trying to suppress crypto prices. We just saw, of course, over the past week, since last Friday, ABA bankers, right? So that's the American Banker Association, send more than 8,000 letters to Senate offices urging lawmakers to fix the stablecoin yield compromise, per a source familiar with the effort. It apparently does not include a separate phone call campaign. So they are trying, the banks are trying, and there, of course, are some senators that are trying to help out the banks. And of course, no surprise, one of them is Elizabeth Warren, and others are Senators Reid and Senator Smith. They filed amendments ahead of the Thursday markup that will force senators to choose between crypto and the banks. The amendment would incorporate banks' changes to stablecoin years. Delano reports here. Another one that stands out from Senator Jack Reed, an amendment that prohibits crypto from being used as a legal tender, for example, to pay taxes, which would be amazing. Think about it. If you here, they actually allow this, but in the US, think about this. You could pay your taxes in stable coins, or you could pay your taxes in Bitcoin or XRP if you wish, right? That would be huge, because think, if you have profits in XRP, why shouldn't you be able to pay the taxes in XRP? That would be good for the government too. And she says here, I think Representative Davidson introduced a bill to do that very thing, pay taxes with Bitcoin last year, but it didn't pass. So almost more than 40 amendments from Senator Warren, one that would prevent the Federal Reserve from issuing master accounts to crypto companies. So you know that Ripple is trying to get that, or did it get it? I forgot already if they have the master account or no, but she's trying to, block the Clarity Act with 40 amendments. Now, tell you the truth, I'm not an expert in banking committee markups, right? I'm getting there, right? We're learning how the U.S. government works. So I had to ask Grok, and I said, Grok, what does this mean, right? And she said, he said, or they said here. I asked, does this mean that that they does this mean that the amendments are in the bill, or could the banking committee take them out? And so it said here, no, these amendments are not already in the bill. They are proposed changes that have just been filed by the senators ahead of the Senate Banking Committee's markup session scheduled for tomorrow, May 14th. Here's exactly how it works in this case. The base bill text, the current version of the Clarity Act Digital Asset Market Structure Bill, was released by the committee a couple days ago. The text already includes some negotiated language on stablecoin yields, a compromise that bans passive interest like yields but allows certain activity-based rewards. Senators like Reid, Smith, and Warren can file amendments right up until or even during the markup. The Reid-Smith amendment on the stricter bank-style yield restrictions for stablecoins, Reid's amendment banning crypto as a legal tenured example for taxes, and Warren's 40-plus amendments, including the one blocking the Fed master accounts for crypto firms, are all in this category. During the markup, an open committee meeting, members debate and then vote on the amendments. The committee can adopt the amendment, it gets added to the bill, reject it, it stays out, modify it, or bundle them, example via a manager's amendment package. Only the amendments that pass get folded into the final version of the committee votes to send to the full Senate. So yes, the main committee can absolutely take them out by voting no. In fact, that's the whole point of the markup. It's the stage where the last minute proposals from the banking lobby and from Senator Warren get accepted, watered down, or removed. Bottom line, nothing is final yet. Tomorrow's votes will decide which, if any, of these amendments actually make it into the bill that leaves the committee. And also, interestingly, this is just the banking committee part, right? The part that the SEC is in charge of. We also have the agriculture committee's bill that was already passed a few months ago, right? Remember that? And then they have to combine the two into what goes to the Senate. So it's still a complicated road ahead of us. There are people talking, oh, by July 4th, President Trump will sign in the Clarity Act. I don't know. We'll see. People have said by the end of the summer. I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow is the first important step of this journey, and we'll see where the bill will go. But yes, tomorrow is going to be a huge day for the crypto market and for XRP. Again, I don't know what the price action is going to do tomorrow. Because what happens today, what happens. We don't know. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. I don't know day to day what's going to happen, okay? I don't know what the price action is going to be. When I make my trades, I think, okay, what's going to happen here? Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I've been very right and I've been very wrong in my trading history. You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes you have a trade and suddenly President Trump says something amazing and everything pops and you're like, I'm a genius. Well, you're not. You just got lucky. And sometimes you get the opposite and you're like, oh, I'm cursed. No, you're not cursed. It just happens. So if that ever happens to you, don't get too excited or too depressed. Okay. That's very, very important to remember when you are trading. Now, there's a lot of people that are very optimistic, especially the Trumps, the Trump family. President Trump says stock market will go through the roof and inflation will go down as soon as the war with Iran is over. Now, this is a big if. According to reports, their reports are that President Trump will decide if they are going to start resume the fighting in Iran once he comes back from China. So right now he's putting the whole Iran situation on hold and he's going to China and he's focusing on that. And when he comes back, he will decide if he wants to resume the fighting or continue negotiating the ceasefire. Also, I just read this morning that they are thinking about changing the name of the war from Epic Fury to something else, something Hammer, right? Something like that, I think. So we'll see. Like that's what's going to change, the name, but okay. And so we'll see what happens when he comes back. Again, maybe this all kind of like coincides together and we have the new Fed chairman, and Eric Trump says Kevin Warsh is fantastic for crypto. Eric Trump, when asked about incoming Fed Kevin Warsh, said not only will he be fantastic for crypto industry, he actually understands it. So the Trumps are very optimistic about the future, or they're very optimistic about the future of where we're going and where the crypto market is going. Like I said, when I'm looking right now at the market, and Tyler says here something very, I resonated with it. It says truly big moves in the crypto market happen very rarely, and he thinks it's about time. I don't know, but what the first thing got me, the first sentence got me thinking, right? What usually happens is the big moves, the big movements, the movements that we remember, right? Like the movement that we had last summer, right, in July, and like the movement that we had in November of 24, right? Those movements usually come when nobody is really interested, and most people are out of the market, and they come back when the market has already moved, right? And then maybe they can catch another 20, 30%, but they've missed out on most of the rally, right? Because by the time the rally gets popular enough that regular Joes and regular Janes hear about it from their friends, from TV, from social media, from wherever, it's already not too late, but it's already, they've missed the party, right? They're only at like the last 5 minutes. They've missed the dancing and the schmoozing and the and whatever goes on in parties. I don't know. I haven't been in a party in a while. The only party that I've been to is like a wedding. This is what happens when you have 3 kids and you're married. You don't go to parties. Maybe like a kid's birthday party. That's but you're not at the club or at a party at a house or something like that. So I was just remembering. Never mind. It's not safe for for this video. I don't know who's watching. You got to be careful. You never know who's watching. We'll see what will happen. Price action. Like I said, I'm looking for XRP to see if XRP can cross this 162 level. If we're looking at like a price prediction kind of thing, but XRP has been stuck around between 133 and 150 for a while now. And some might say actually that XRP is kind of undervalued right now. If you go and you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, right? They're actually at higher prices. Double bottom looks here like that for Solana, right? Solana's back to where it was February 4th, whereas XRP, right, at 146 has a little bit more to go to February 4th. February 4th, we were at like 155, 156. So one could say that right now XRP is a little bit undervalued. But I don't think that people watching this video really care about a 5, 6%, 7% potential movement here for XRP. I know that many of you are hoping for a lot more, hoping for bigger movements, hoping for XRP to get back to over $2 and things like that. It was funny. People like, oh, XRP will never drop under $2 again once we were in these areas. Of course it happened. We don't know what the prices of XRP is going to be. Again, it depends on what the market is doing, how the market is acting. We've analyzed the fallout of October 10th in nauseam already, so we're not going to go into that. But like I've told you, in 2 days, in a week, in 2 weeks, things can change significantly. I'm going to give now a basketball reference because you guys know I like basketball, and it's the NBA playoffs, right? Now, 2 weeks can change a lot, right? Think about it. The Philadelphia 76ers were down 3-1 against the Boston Celtics, right? And Joel Embiid came back and he was injured and he had an appendectomy, right? He wasn't injured. He came back and they went on a fury and were able to go through, right, to the next round. They were so ecstatic. They were happy. We were playing the best basketball. And then they went against the New York Knicks and lost 4 games in a row and are out of the playoffs. So in 2 weeks, they were down in the gutter, then they were euphoric, and then a few days later, they were out, right? So things can change, things can shift. The market could look dire, and then suddenly it starts going up. It could look very, very good, and then suddenly it starts pulling back. That's why we always have to be ready for all types of scenarios, okay? I keep beating the drum about this, but I want you guys, you're going to be remembering this. You're going to be sitting on your royal throne, doing some, important business there. And you're going to remember, Avi said, be ready for every certain situation. And then maybe you'll plan for it and maybe you won't. Like you won't plan for all the scenarios, right? But pick the five likely most scenarios, right? And try to, then once one of those happens or something similar, you can branch out. Okay. That's what I found. It's not a foolproof thing. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes. We're still human after all, but it's very, very important to remember that. Okay. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.